Hello and welcome back to George Past the Post. This video is going to look at the local elections that were held in parts of England last week. There was also a parliamentary by-election, which I've covered in a previous video. In the local elections, there were 23 councils up for election, and Reform UK won control, that is an overall majority, on 10 councils. Up 10 from 2021 because they didn't control any councils back then. The Liberal Democrats won control of 3 councils, again up 3. The Conservatives and Labour failed to win control of any councils. The Conservatives dropped 16, so they lost control of 16 councils that they had, and Labour lost control of 1. And there were 10 councils that were what is termed no overall control, which is that no party has a majority on the council, and that's an increase of, I think, 4 from 2021. So I think those top figures speak for themselves. They're also reflected in the number of councillors. Now, I can't quite remember all the numbers off my head, but Reform got around 677 seats, up 677. The Liberal Democrats, I think, got 370, up 163. The Conservatives, 319, down about 600 and something, about around more than two-thirds of the Conservative seats that they were defending they lost. Labour got 98 seats, down 180 something. And Independents got about 80 seats. They were down a bit, and the Greens got about 70 seats, up 40. Apologies if these numbers are a little off. They can be verified on the BBC website. But the overall picture in the local elections was that it was an incredibly good set of results for Reform. They managed to, in a way they failed to do in previous local elections and the parliamentary election last year, they managed to get enough votes so that first past the post, which I've also explained in previous videos how that works, first past the post works in their favour. So they got, in the areas that were contested overall, 31% of the votes, but 41% of the seats. So they got the bonus from first past the post because they managed to come first in enough areas. Those were the local election results. There were 6 mayoral contests. This again will test my memory. Labour managed to win 3 of them. The West of England, which they won with just 25% of the vote. They held on also in North Tyneside and in Doncaster in the mayoral election. The Reform won 2 mayoral contests, Greater Lincolnshire and Hull and Yorkshire. They managed to win as well. And the Conservatives they managed to win 1. They won in Cambridgeshire and Peterborough, taking the seat off Labour, which had been Labour in 2021. So much speculation has been made, understandably, from these results, given that Reform did so well, about what this might mean for the future of British politics. And I'm afraid my answer to that is that I have no answer. All that any election, whether it's a national election, local council by-election, parish council election, any kind of election, it tells you the mood of the electorate at that time, at that moment in time. By definition, it cannot predict the future and how people will necessarily vote in the future. What it shows is that at this moment in time, there is significant dissatisfaction with the Labour government, and there is also dissatisfaction with the Conservatives, who have only been in opposition for just under a year, having been in power for 14 years, and that in many parts of the areas that had elections, people are turning to reform. But it's worth just putting in all these various caveats, which are that the turnout was low, especially compared to a general election, and the general election is not for at least another 4 years. If you go back to 2021, when these seats were last held, contested rather, the Conservatives did incredibly well, Labour did incredibly badly, and the takeaway from those elections were that Boris Johnson was going to be Prime Minister indefinitely, and that the idea that Labour could ever win a general election in what was then 3 years' time was for the birds. And of course, 3 years later, Labour did win a general election. So there is a lot that can happen. So therefore, I'm not sure it's necessarily that helpful for too much speculation about what may happen in 4 years' time. But of course, that doesn't stop people from doing it because it is a lot of fun. Those are my thoughts really on the results. Essentially, as I say, right now people are dissatisfied with the Labour government, and they're also dissatisfied with the Conservative Party, and therefore in many places they are turning to reform. In other places they are turning to the Liberal Democrats and the Greens, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to end up with Nigel Farage as Prime Minister in 2029, but it does mean that it is all to play for. We are in a very fragmented political environment. The general election showed that as well. What I mean by that is you now have a situation where, according to polling, you've got about 3 parties all getting somewhere between low 20s and high 20s in terms of support. That makes first past the post a sort of a lottery. And one of the Truro Awards in Cornwall returned a Liberal Democrat candidate who won, in inverted commas, with just under 19% of the vote. I think that shows you quite how fragmented things are. So we'll see what happens. In the meantime, I hope you have a good day, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye.